Mira, dime lo que le queda, mi gente. Tenemos aquí un invitado especial en el día de hoy. Una persona sumamente especial que se dedica, tiene, o sea, es productor, es artista, tiene su movimiento de tanto de Instagram, de las redes sociales, tiene YouTube, está bien envuelto en la comunidad de productores y súper solo. ¿Quieres añadir algo ahí?
Sí, le mete el finger drumming bien cabrón.
Eso es la que hay. Así que bienvenido
Dímelo,
Phronetic, que es la que hay, mi gente. Phronetic.
Phronetic.
Oye,
Un
oye, ¿qué más?
aplauso.
¿Qué más?
Dímelo, parce.
Gracias por la introducción. ¿Qué más?
¿Estamos activos? Bueno, mi gente, él habla español, pero va a hacerle en inglés más o menos, ¿verdad? ¿Tú prefieres hablar inglés?
Sí, sí, es posible.
Él nos
Sí.
estaba contando fuera del aire que o sea, yo lo seguía hace como 2 años atrás y lo seguí porque obviamente me salió en el feed de como productor tocando un pad y para mí eso era bien impresionante hace como 2 años atrás. Yo creo que todavía sigue siendo impresionante porque la manera en que tú lo haces no es normal, o sea, es como que bastante, necesitas muchos skills para poder hacer lo que tú haces. Y eso me salió en el profile una vez y a mí me llamó la atención y de una lo empecé a seguir y como que nunca me atreví a hablar con él porque pensaba que era americano. Y hoy descubrimos, o sea, en esta semana descubrí que era latino y de hecho es colombiano.
Sí.
Y
Ya.
cuéntame un poco, o sea, tú eres, naciste en Estados Unidos, eres colombiano, ¿cómo es la vuelta?
Sí, sí, bueno. Pero nací en Bogotá, Colombia, pero soy adoptado. Y yo moví a los Estados Unidos cuando era un bebé. Y mis padres adoptados son italianos, así que no hablan español. Y
Wow.
tenía que aprender español con mis amigos y en la escuela y buscar mi identidad, ¿no?
Wow.
Y
Qué
tú,
brutal.
tengo entendido que también estás aprendiendo español porque estás dando clases a unos estudiantes mexicanos, ¿verdad?
Sí, claro, y soy maestro de beatmaking y tengo clases de beatmaking y todo eso. Y tengo estudiantes en México, así que tenía que mejorar mi español. Por eso I had to like
Ah,
really practice. And so, estoy aprendiendo, pero no estoy fluido.
Duro,
y
duro.
eso de clases de beatmaking, ¿eso fue algo que tú te inventaste o fue algo que tú tuviste un curso y decidiste también hacerlo? ¿Tú hiciste
Ah,
un
bueno,
currículo?
sí, bueno, fue un programa con el Department of State en los Estados Unidos. Es un programa que they select like hip hop artists to represent hip hop culture for the United States, and they put on programming in different countries. So this time was Mexico. Last time I did a program in Bolivia. It, yeah, like the curriculum that I do, it really depends. Like for this class that we had to do, it was a professional development program. And so
Ok.
instead of actually teaching beats and how to make beats, we were working with students who were already really amazing producers and amazing rappers, amazing DJs. And so instead, the course was about how to have a successful professional career doing hip hop. And so there was a different class for the rappers, there was a class for producers, class for the DJs. And so I was the producer teacher. And it was a new
Wow.
experience because I never taught a professional development class before. I always teach, finger drumming, making beats, and
Yo
all
creo
that.
que de ahí vamos a sacar tela, de ahí vamos a sacar mucha tela porque nosotros, o sea, a eso es que nosotros nos dedicamos, o sea, estamos apasionados con todo esto de lo que es el desarrollo de artistas, obviamente los productores somos artistas también. Eh, ¿Qué son algunas de esas destrezas que tú como productor has visto que es donde fallan los productores y cómo tú los llevas a ese próximo nivel?
Mm, estaba preguntando cómo, uh, like how to get to the next level with professional.
Yeah, like what's something common that you find on producers? You know, like what are people missing that you know like they're great beat makers, like you said, but something is missing on them that they're not making it to the next level.
Claro. Yeah, man. There's okay. I think that there's a lot of different things, but I think the most important thing is not treating music like a business. It's a business. If you want to make it a career, you have to treat it like a business. And I think that too many people treat it as a passion, and it's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing to be passionate about what you do. But when you start to think and change your mindset and say, no, this is a business and this is how I'm going to treat it, then your results will change. Because you get up every day and you go to work, or people get up every day, you go to work, or people get up every day, they go to school. Are people getting up every day and treating music like those things? If they start to do that, then I think automatically you start to see those changes. But then, there's like lots of other things that go into that too, like how to write an email, you know what I mean, professionally, or how to speak to potential clients professionally. And also, I think, like, I don't know, this might sound away, but like filtering out the people that you surround yourself with and making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who are also professional, who are also wanting to do big things with their music, rather than hanging around people, who want to party all the time, who just want to, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to make it a career and be really successful, you can't have all of that all the time. So I don't know. Those are a few of the things. I think professionalism, though, is definitely a big one.
Wow, wow. Y entonces, okay, interesante, porque no sé, pensaría que allá afuera, o sea, en Estados Unidos, acá es más o menos lo mismo, o sea, estamos como que yo creo que igual, es algo que muchos artistas también, igual que los productores, muchos fallamos, como que creo que es la disciplina, por lo menos nosotros en nuestro caso, nosotros somos bastante disciplinados y creo que todavía sentimos que nos falta un montón por llegar a donde queremos llegar. Sí, siempre hemos tenido el enfoque de que la parte musical es como que el fuerte de nosotros, o sea, nos consideramos unos productores súper duros. Tenemos la disciplina, pero la parte quizás del negocio como financiera todavía no ha llegado. ¿Qué consejo tú nos darías a nosotros como productores, quizás en esa parte, en el aspecto financiero, como que obviamente no nos conoces, pero algo que tú hayas visto común, que quizás son profesionales pero no están haciendo dinero? ¿Qué consejo tú le
Mm.
darías?
Mm. See, well, I mean, like, I think there's levels to it all. I mean, like, obviously, if you're amazing with your professionalism and you got all that on lock, but like your beats aren't as good, or maybe, you don't talk to the right people, or you're like not applying that in the right ways, and yeah, it could still be hard to grow. I think that another aspect is, like I was saying earlier, is like filtering out people based on what their desires are too. And if you really surround yourself with people who are looking for the same thing and are trying to do the same thing, the chances of success will just go up. And I think it's really easy, especially in the music
Exacto.
business, to like just be around the wrong people. You know what I mean? Like, you could work hard every single day and you could be professional and you could do all that, but if you're with the wrong people in the wrong community, like, you're not gonna go where you want to go.
¿Tú
Exacto.
piensas que uno como productor y como persona que está en el ambiente debería siempre tratar de buscar gente que esté en tu mismo nivel o más arriba, o está bien estar con gente que no está a tu nivel?
Like, surround yourself with people who are better or who are lower level.
Ajá.
So yeah, I think always important to surround yourself with people who are better than you. Always.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're gonna level up. If you're the best in your group, like, that's cool, but then there aren't always people who are gonna be pushing you to go up. You know what I mean?
Exacto. ¿Y cómo uno logra meterse en esos grupos donde, tú sabes, hay gente que ya tiene más ranking que tú?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always I think, like, especially with the class that I was talking about where I was teaching the Mexican students, like, I was working with teachers who were years of experience on me. I'm talking, like, one guy that I work with has like a decade or like 15 years of experience over me. And he's like taught me so much about just like the educational side of things, because another big side that I do is, like I said, I'm a teacher. So like he's really made me level up in that aspect. And like without him, I wouldn't have a lot of the opportunities that I have now with teaching. You know what I mean? But then we kind of feed off of each other, you know, because like I might have more experience like selling beats, for example, when he has more experience like on the teaching side of things. So we always like, you know, we always kind of meld like that. But yeah, man, I think like I'm always thankful for the people that I have around me because, yo, if I didn't have those people, I would not be where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Y tú consideras también que el marketing es súper importante para los productores, ¿verdad?
Yeah. And I think like that's always changing. I think that's always changing. But I think like the number one thing is social media when it comes to marketing is seeming like it's the most important now, and I think it will continue to be the most important in the future as we just kind of get like closer and closer to this like weird universe that exists on the internet. But yeah, man, I think it's the most important thing. But I don't know. It could change. But I think it empowered a lot of producers because you can, you know, make a 30-second video and post it on there, and it could get more views than a full-length production music video that people spend like 5,000, 10,000 more on filming, you know?
Yeah.
So it's powerful.
Oye, tengo una pregunta relacionada a esto del social media.
Yeah.
Yo he visto como que últimamente las redes de momento uno suelta un story y, o sea, un story o un post o lo que sea y los números se comportan de una manera y yo sé que no se supone que uno esté tan pendiente de estas cosas, pero cuando uno tiene un negocio los números se importan porque todo esto de los números y los views se convierten eventualmente en una venta. Mientras más gente te pueda ver, pues más ventas puedas tener, ¿verdad? Como negociante. ¿Qué pasa? Que últimamente vemos estas redes como que uno crea esta dependencia con Instagram, quizás con TikTok. Uno suelta contenido y el contenido llega hasta cierto límite y no mucha gente lo está viendo. Ese es tu caso. Cuando tú haces contenido, tú ves estas tendencias de que de momento un día sueltas algo y mucha gente lo ve y otros días no mucha gente lo ve.
Yeah, it changes and it's all like this algorithm shit. And I mean, it's like, it's crazy, man. But I think like also the thing that producers need to realize is that sometimes if your content, this happens to me all the time. Sometimes I'll make a video and I'll put mad work into it and I'll spend a lot of time on it and it just flops. Like sometimes the video just wasn't the best, you know. But then the other side of it is like, yeah, sometimes, you know, maybe you posted it at the wrong time of day. You know, maybe you posted it too late at night and nobody saw it. Or maybe, I don't know, you know, it could be a lot of different things. It could be algorithm or it could be like the video flopped, but it's always changing. And like, yeah, I mean, numbers are important for business. And like you said, if more people see you, you get more business. And I think that's important. But like, I think focusing on the numbers, especially if you're starting out, is going to be discouraging because, you know, you're not going to come out the gate with like high numbers. You know, I think the most important thing above the numbers is the consistency. Like if you are posting once a week, you know, post once a week. Or if you're posting every 3 days, post every 3 days. Like whatever the frequency is, stick with it because it'll create a relationship and reliability with your audience. And so like I made that mistake lots of times because it's hard to keep up, you know what I mean? And I've like fallen off and I've like not made videos and I would see like, you know, as a result of that, sometimes you don't get as many clients, you know, I mean, it's a constant game, but the thing is that marketing in music is always going to be a constant game, and social media is just like one aspect of that, you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people tell me, like people who I guess don't agree with the way that I do things, they would say, oh well, when you create, somebody told me once, they said, oh, I don't like the social media thing because you're going to be trapped in like a cycle of like 1-minute beat loops. Or you're going to be trapped in a cycle of like creating videos for the internet. And then that's where you're going to stay. And I get that. And I know that there are tons of people who are successful and like never use social media. But I just think that right now it's the easiest way. I don't think that it's the hardest way. I think people think that it's really hard, but I think it's the easiest way because when you're when we live in a world now where instead of exchanging phone numbers, you exchange Instagrams. It's
Yeah.
like,
Ya.
yo, that's it. That's it.
Y te ha ayudado los videos que tú haces tocando con el finger drumming, te ha ayudado a generar ventas
Oh yeah.
de tus pistas.
Yeah. I think like performing is probably one of the best things that you could do as a producer, simply because there's not a lot of people doing it. And now the popularity is growing a bit, and it's really cool because it pushes the boundaries of what was possible before. I mean, like I see guys and girls on there that's like pushing the envelope, that's doing shit that I've never seen before, all because like, you know, we're leveling up all together. You know, we're creating competition, a friendly competition, and I think it just brings everybody to the next level. But yeah, performing definitely helped. Performing definitely
Right.
helped.
Porque a la misma vez,
Acabo de tirar una bendición. Acabo de tirar una bendición acá. Acá no lo ven, pero acá está la bendición. Duro, duro, duro.
zumba. Está bien. Pero le iba a preguntar, el hecho de que tú estés tocando, la gente te ve como un performer, te ve como producer, como que no tienes ese cuestionamiento, como que, oh, but what are you?
Yeah. You know, I can't even answer that question, you know, because that's the thing about music is like, it's hard. Being an artist is hard because you have your idea of what you are and you have an idea of what you make. But then the minute you put it out into the world, everybody else gets to tell you what you are. You know what I mean? So like, I try not to get caught up in that because I used to, and I just get upset. I'm just like, you know, people might call me like a beat maker, and I wouldn't call myself a beat maker. I would call myself a producer. Some people don't think that there's a difference, and that's okay. Or some people, you know, maybe people don't know that I sing as well, you know, and they might just say, oh, well, you know, you're just a producer. I was like, well, no, you know, I sing too and rap a little bit. But you know what? I think like the bottom line is like you always just have to show what you can do. I really believe like actions over words. Like I don't like to talk too much about it. I like to just do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's cool.
Oye, el tipo de clientes que tú tienes, artistas, clientes, ¿quiénes son? O sea, tú tienes un estilo de música bien diferente cuando tú estás haciendo tus beats, por lo menos los que son tocando. No sé si a lo mejor como que en tu tienda en específico tú haces beats diferentes, así como para, qué sé yo, para cantantes de trap, o te especializas en hip hop y son pistas de hip hop y ese es tu tipo de clientela.
Yeah, I mean, so I usually work with brands. So I don't work with artists as much, you know, like rappers, singers.
Okay.
And I do sometimes, but I found that what I enjoy the most is like working with brands because I can focus on the beat and it doesn't have to be anything else. And I love working with artists. I love working with rappers. I love working with singers. I love creating something and having them bring something to the table that I can't bring. But I just love working with brands and doing like commercial work just because it's like, that's it. Like companies and brands are paying millions and millions and millions of dollars to create an advertisement. And they're going to use that money to hire the best producers, the best composers, the best filmmakers to film their videos. And so I just like, I always felt I got more valued and more appreciated as a producer when I started working with brands and when I like stopped putting my focus on like selling beats to rappers, because the rapper is like, the beat's like $5,000. Like, I don't got that money. You know, it's like, okay, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know.
And then you get paid $5,000 for a 1-minute beat from a brand.
Wow.
Exactly.
¿Y cómo es ese hustle de tú entrar en ¿verdad? A buscar marcas? ¿Cómo tú las encuentras? ¿They approach you? ¿Tú vas a donde ellos?
Well, it depends, man. It depends. Like, usually people will approach me because of like social media, you know, or they see me or whatever and they ask. But these days it's been more of like, now that I've like created a network within that world, people, you know, they talk and, you know, these are like production houses that put together these like advertisements and stuff. And so it's like, usually they aren't chilling too much on social media. Usually they have like a tight network of producers, because if you think about it, they have to use people that they know are reliable. Like it's a
Right.
gamble for them to stumble across somebody and be like, "Oh, they look cool. Like let's," you know what I mean? It's a gamble. It happens, and that's how it started for me. But they need people who are reliable, who are going to turn around the beat on time. It's like they're working with big brands. Like they're not going to be waiting around, on a beat maker that or a producer that's like going to be not answering quickly or not making the beat quickly or professionally or doesn't know how to bounce the stems. It doesn't, you know what I mean? So
Ajá.
Eso
I
es bien importante, esa parte, perdona que te interrumpa, pero eso es bien importante, poder entregar proyectos a tiempo, poder entregar los proyectos completos. Si tú sabes, para poder, porque casi siempre todo lo que tiene que ver con brands y esto tienen un deadline y son bien jodones para eso.
exactly,
Que esa
yeah.
parte es súper buena que lo hayas dicho.
Yeah, no, it's really important. Like again, because that goes back into like treating this like a business. It's like, yo, the money is gonna be at where the businesses are at, and the businesses got tight timelines. They got tight turnarounds. They got to make this commercial in like 2 months. They need that beat in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And if you don't have it, you don't have it. They're not gonna work with you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, to answer the original question, like how people coming to me, it's like originally it was like because of Instagram, but now it's kind of been like more networking. Yeah.
Ok.
Yeah.
Ok, ok. Ok, y
Eso.
en algún momento tú, como productor que vendes pistas por internet, tuviste la experiencia de entrar a BEATSTARS, enroll y como que subir tus beats, esperar a que fuera gente a comprar tus beats. Quizás no sé si le hiciste promoción, pero tú sabes que eso es como que algo que muchos beatmakers hacen hoy día, que entran a la plataforma y pues como que you have to figure it out yourself. No es tan fácil. ¿Tuviste que pasar por eso?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of producers are mad successful on BeatStars and on the websites like that. Like back in the day before BeatStars was like Airbit and there's like mad different platforms. Now it seems like BeatStars is the one. And I think that a lot of producers are killing it on there. And a lot of the producers who are killing it on there are doing it with the help of things like YouTube, like the YouTube community. You go on there, you got type beats, and then they get millions of views, and then they go to the BeatStars, and then they sell those beats. So I give a lot of credit to producers who are able to hustle like that and create a career that way, because it's not easy. I don't use websites like that anymore, just because like my focus shifted from my clientele, like who I was working with. But yeah,
Right.
back in the day, that's what I would be trying to do too, like uploading the beats to BeatStars, trying to sell them on there. I think that the main thing that I realized for me, and it's going to be different for everybody, but the main thing that I realized for me was that I was making more money when I was just focusing on custom work. A rapper could go to your page and he'll pay you $50, for the lease or whatever, you set your price. But at the end of the day, if you create something for him or for her that's custom, they have to pay more money for it. They're
Right.
gonna, because they get to tell you exactly what they want in that beat.
Yeah.
So that's when I like realized that, and I started doing custom work. I started to move away from like uploading the beats on BeatStars, because I knew it's like, okay, I could sell this one beat 100 times and I could make money from it over and over and over again. But is that the lane that I want to go down? Is that like the clientele that I wanted to reach? And for me personally, it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that one.
Sí.
Especially when you identify your market too, right? If being successful at something, just might as well just stay doing that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But again, like I said, I have lots of respect for dudes on there who are fucking killing it with BeatStars. Like that's not easy. That's not
Yeah,
easy.
we do BeatStars, and we started doing it when the pandemic hit, and it's been hard.
Yeah.
Making a name in there. It's been really hard.
Yeah, and there's a lot of competition too, but I've heard stories of people who get discovered by big rappers, big artists, big everybody, like I think Russ, the rapper, was talking about how he like found a beat on BeatStars and he like bought it, and then the producer blew up, or like, I know that Cardi B her team is sometimes searching through BeatStars and getting beats from there. So it's like it's definitely an opportunity.
Yeah. Awesome.
Ok, como productor, ¿verdad? Como que tienes una carrera que, pues, te está funcionando todo esto del joseo de trabajar con los brands. ¿Qué otras vías uno puede buscar como productor para generar dinero? Porque en verdad como que uno se pone a ver y las vías como que poco a poco se van limitando realmente, o sea, porque uno se quiere especializar en algo. ¿Qué vías tú has tenido que sean diferentes a lo que es el brand?
So, you're asking. Sorry, could you repeat?
Yeah, like if you have other sources of income as a producer.
Oh yeah. Of course. I mean, I think that one of the things when it goes into treating your music as a business is also like having multiple streams of income when it comes to your business. You know, and so like yeah, I do like commercial work, but I also do performances. You know, live performances. I also do teaching. Um, and I also do videography work and some visual work, graphic design. So it's definitely like a mix of a lot of different things because I think if I focused on one thing, I just wouldn't make as much. You know what I mean?
¿Tú has
Yeah.
conocido algún productor que no se va a hacer más de lo que, o sea, más de lo que se supone que hagamos?
Yeah.
Todos de alguna manera, yo creo que hoy todos los productores, por lo menos mínimo, tienen que saber hasta usar hasta Photoshop.
Yeah.
Mínimo.
Yeah. No, I mean it's like it's an important skill too, and it's fun. It's fun to learn. You know.
Yeah.
But like yeah, once you start like creating your own album covers and creating your own music videos and doing all that stuff, it's like damn, you know, you get the power.
Exacto.
Yeah. ¿Y tú piensas que es necesario ahora mismo estar afiliado con un label, ya sea con distribución o publishing?
Bueno, it's different for everybody. It's different for everybody. I think that for a lot of people, being with a label would be very helpful because they'll take care of a lot of the business aspect sides of things that I'm talking about. Like some producers or some artists are just amazing artists and that's what they're good at. Sometimes it doesn't mean that they're necessarily good at, you know, maybe talking to people or negotiating or marketing themselves or doing their accounting or doing, creating their contracts or doing a lot of this stuff. Like not everybody's built for that. So I think for those people, yeah, being with the label is invaluable. It's that's what they need. I think that for other artists who like the business sides of things, who like that hustle, who like learning about marketing or learning about how to do a lot of different things and wearing a lot of different hats, for producers that like that, then I think that the label is not necessary. I think that at that point, when you start doing the role of the label, then the label is kind of like what are they there for? I mean, obviously for like promotion, right, and for advertising and reaching a bigger audience, but you also are sacrificing like your individuality and you're sacrificing like your creative control and what you want to make. And so I've had like offers from major labels, I've had offers from independent labels, and at the end of the day, I always had to ask myself, like, is this what I want? And am I going to be able to still make what I want? Or am I going to be pushed in the direction? Yeah, am I going to be pushed in the direction of making something that I just don't want to make? And for me, I was like, no. And these were some of the hardest decisions that I had to make. Like, deadass, like looking at a major label rep and saying like, no. Like, it was like the hardest thing that I had to do. But
¿Y ese contrato que te lo ofrecían como artista, como productor del label?
Como productor.
Y sí. Te ponían como un límite, como que, pues tienes que someter tantos temas al año. Something like that.
Yeah, and also like who I would be working with, like specifically, because like when they talk to you, they already have artists in mind that they want to pair you up with. And not always. I mean, that doesn't happen all of the time. But I remember like walking into that meeting, and unfortunately I can't say who it was, but I remember walking into that meeting and I had like a bunch of beats that I was just like mad hype about. It was like just straight up like boom bap beats and
Okay.
like some battle style beats. And then at the end of the meeting, he's like, "Yeah, man, I really want you to like work on some R&B stuff with so and so." And at that time, I wasn't really into R&B yet. Now I love R&B. Now I love making it all the time. But at that time, I was like, man, I want to make R&B beats. Like, you know what I mean? So like, and also the other thing is that's complicated is that when you are independent and you don't have anybody representing you, you don't know what's in that contract. You don't know what they're talking about sometimes. Like I was young and naive, but I knew something was fishy when I left the meeting and they were asking me for like a beat pack, but we didn't sign anything, we didn't do anything. And they're like, "Oh yeah, send the beat pack, send the beat pack." And I'm like,
Mm.
uh okay, can we sign a contract first, about what the B pack is for and like what you're gonna be using for it. And like
Mhm.
all of that, I think like artists always need to do their homework on that and make sure that they're aware of that type of stuff. But yeah, like to answer your question, do I think it's necessary? For some people, yes. For other people, no.
Y en el
That's true gems.
aspecto,
True gems.
sí, 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 está zumbando caliente. Eh, en el aspecto legal, obviamente estás hablando de esa parte de los contratos. ¿Cuán importante tú sientes que es tener un abogado a tu lado ahí en tu carrera? Como que vaya contigo de la mano.
Yeah, no, I think definitely having a lawyer, if you can afford it, is gonna be important because yo, they put some grimy things in those contracts, yo. They put some weird things in those contracts, and if you don't have the like legal eye for it and to be able to be like, oh, then you might miss it. Like I think one of the most popular things that people miss is the work for hire clause in contracts. There's a work for hire clause, and
Right.
basically that just means that yeah, they're pretty much gonna own what you make after you're done,
Yeah.
and that can be a problem,
Y la palabra perpetuity, ¿verdad? También.
Exactly. Yep, forever, forever. So yeah, stuff like that, like you know, and there's other stuff too that I probably don't even know about because I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, if you can afford one, definitely, I think it's important. But until then, like if you can't afford one, I think it's important to just like really study up on like contracts and like what's going on in these contracts and really familiarize yourself with how the business works. How does it work? Like what role are you playing in this big business of this record label or of this brand or what are you giving them?
Right.
Y también la parte de entender lo que significa un máster, lo que significa publishing. ¿Sabes?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes people don't realize that they're signing away publishing rights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it comes to, yeah, the publishing world is a whole different thing. I mean, I work with artists and I have artist friends who like still just like are not, they don't have a publishing administrator or they don't know that they have publishing rights. Some people
Mhm.
forget that that even exists. People forget that publishing exists. People think it's like Spotify and Apple Music streams and ija. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, there's like a whole other side of it, man. And I think the
Mhm.
most important thing is just like educating yourself, especially because we got the internet, we got YouTube. There's like a million YouTube channels that you can learn about the music business and contracts and publishing and royalties and all of that.
Right.
Yeah. Mira, y una pregunta. Cuando ya uno es artista, ¿verdad? Que uno oció para llegar al punto donde uno quería llegar y ya está llegando, pero entonces llega un nuevo problema, que es la fama. ¿Cómo uno brega con la mente de uno? ¿Cómo uno brega con la salud mental? Porque hay muchos artistas que se tardan tantos años en lograrlo, cuando llegan pierden el control y se joden sus carreras. ¿Cómo uno brega con eso?
Yeah, no, it's sad. I mean, you hear stories like that all the time, you know.
Mhm.
Um, I think that again, for some people, that might be kind of what they want without really knowing that that's what they want. You know what I mean? Like, I think that some people may have a dream to be like that major label artist who maybe doesn't keep their masters and just wants the fame and just wants the publicity and the popularity and the And that's cool too, you know, like being a celebrity, you know, I'm sure that's inspired, like I'm sure that's fun
Yeah.
and the lifestyle. And some people just want that. Some people don't care. Like some people don't. And that's I don't agree with it, but they exist, you know?
Yeah,
Ujú.
yeah,
Ya.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Oye, y en el joseo, ¿verdad? Que tenemos tanto las redes sociales que ahora la gente está como que migrando a un montón de plataformas y está como que lo que es YouTube, está Twitch, bueno, está el metaverso, hay un montón de plataformas. Ahora mismo tú estás activo en Twitch, tengo entendido, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
¿Qué tipo de eventos tú haces en Twitch como productor?
So back in the pandemic, we were doing live stream shows, basically. That was really cool. It was like a beat cipher, but it was on live stream. And I think that was like one of the most powerful ways to use like Twitch and like YouTube Live. Um, Honestly, I don't do it anymore, but I know that producers who are killing it on Twitch, who are doing similar things, like making beats live on Twitch, and they have a whole community on there. I think it's really important to try and use different platforms,
Right.
because different communities exist on different platforms. You know, I mean, you know, if you focus on one, then you'll probably grow really well on one, and that'll be good. I mean, that's kind of what I did, and it'll create opportunities. But yeah, like I think it's important to focus on different ones, especially the live stuff with Twitch. It's like it's not new, but because of the pandemic, it got really popular, and it's not gonna go away. It's
Right.
not gonna go
Yeah.
away.
Y tú piensas que uno como productor, por ejemplo, si vende pista, en el caso de vender pista, ¿tú crees que sea necesario uno tener que estar en todas las plataformas para tener más awareness? ¿O es mejor especializarse en una como tú lo has hecho? Porque tú eres, yo creo que lo más grande para ti es en
Allí.
Instagram, ¿verdad?
Yeah. So do I sell? When you sell a beat, am I uploading it to?
You know, like we are all slaves of the social media nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the question is that, you know, they're always telling you, I know, yeah, you gotta post everywhere. You gotta make content everywhere. And you become the slave for all the social networks that we have. You know, do you think that's do you recommend that, or
Mm.
would you rather recommend to you know, be good at one?
It's a good question. I think, you know, like I said, I think focusing on one will help you grow more on that platform, and then you can create a career off of that. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's nothing wrong with focusing on one. I think, you know, you can get overwhelmed. There's so many different platforms. You know, there's so much different stuff going on, and I think, like you said, you know, you become a slave to these different platforms. I mean, that's real. That's real. Like some people, like social media is like not good for your mental health. Like,
No, exactly, and that's the issue that, you know, many times you talk to, well, like, you know, like labels, and when they're working with independent artists, when they're talking to the independent artists, what they're recommending is like, oh yeah, you gotta be in every social media, you gotta make like tons of content, but then, you know, you're battling between, should I do it everywhere? Should I just like focus on one, or should I just make music, you know, and let the world find me somewhere in my bedroom? I don't know.
yeah, I think it depends too on like the type of content that you're making, because like if you made a piece of content for say like Instagram Reels, it's sized a certain way,
Right.
literally, and
Mm,
you probably shouldn't upload it to YouTube because it's gonna look like a skinny little thing. You know
right.
what I mean? Or did you film it?
Mm,
Did you film it horizontally and then you just cropped it? You know, so like even that is something to take into consideration, because a video that looks like that on YouTube is just not gonna do well, even if it's an amazing video. It's not formatted for, you know, for people to really watch it like that on YouTube. So I don't know. It's like I think that if you created content and it was easy for you to just put it up everywhere, like you just edit it differently for each of the platforms, and yeah, why not? You know what I mean? But for me, like when I'm making my videos, it's like I'm making it for Instagram. It's
Right.
formatted a certain way, you know what I mean? So it's like, I guess I could refilm it horizontally and put it up on YouTube. You know, it's like, I don't know.
Ajá.
I think the most important thing, no matter what, if you choose one or you choose all of them, is just to be consistent with it. Like I said earlier, like if you're gonna post once a week, post once a week. If you're gonna do it every 3 days, do it every 3 days. But the consistency is what's gonna help you be successful, not necessarily the platform.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry guys, I was just walking from the parking lot.
Oh, good.
Bueno, mi gente, estamos hablando con Phronetic. Está muy duro en lo que hace. En verdad que para mí, yo soy drummer, so nosotros también hacemos videitos en TikTok como que tocando, pero obviamente son cosas más sencillas, tú sabes, a lo que tú haces. Que nosotros hacemos lo de los duets. Entonces hacemos un beat, salimos tocando y la gente hace un duet con, tú sabes, tira los frees encima de las pistas de nosotros.
Sí, ya lo vi, qué chimba.
Sí. Estamos ahí. Eso obviamente no está tan avanzado como lo que tú haces, pero estamos ahí, estamos tratando también.
Yeah, I like the duets. I think that's dope because it's like people, you know, I don't know if you know, I mentioned him earlier, Beats by Jay Black. He's another finger drummer producer, and he does the same thing. Like he'll post a video of him like ripping it on the drum, and then you say, "Oh, remix this," and then you get mad rappers that are reposting it. Like, it's a good tactic. It's a good tactic.
Sí,
Yeah.
sí. Y Kato de producer
like
lo hace también.
Kato, sí, eso le mete cabrón.
Yeah.
We do it to test out if it's a good beat or not, you know.
Yeah.
Uno ve el feedback.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Yeah, but that's a good point too. Like using social media as like a way to test a beat. You know what I mean? Like if it's gonna get picked up, if it's gonna get sold. You know. But yeah, that's cool.
No, y a la misma vez uno se da cuenta de, por ejemplo, nosotros tenemos un beat que se fue, está cogiendo bastantes views, pero a la misma vez se lo enseñamos a un artista y los artistas no se montan, pero el público normal se monta. Entonces ahí es que uno dice, contra, pero si a tanta gente le gusta y tanta gente nos ha enviado los duets, ¿y por qué ningún artista se monta en ese beat? You know?
Yeah, it's weird, you know. I mean, it's also what types of artists, you know, maybe it's just a matter of like marketing to a different type of artist, you know. I really like custom work because it's like you're always going to make something for that artist, but then the question is like how do you get that artist's attention so that you can create custom work for them.
Right. Exacto.
You know? Yeah.
Sí, también tiene que ver mucho con yo creo que cuando la gente hace freestyles en estos duets, el tipo de ritmo de los freestyles no es tanto como para hacer un tema, es más como para hacer un freestyle. Y pues obviamente el tipo de clientes que nosotros tenemos son clientes más de, pues que están buscando producciones full, quizás un reggaetón, quizás un trap, pero un tema, no un freestyle.
Yeah. And even that, like when you, like just for example, here in New York City, there's a huge freestyle rap community. But that doesn't mean that all of those rappers in that freestyle rap community are dropping albums or dropping songs. Like they're really well known in the community for being freestylers, and that's cool too, you know. But I do see that sometimes those artists struggle with, I guess, creating like a full career out of that. You know what I mean? But
¿Por qué?
I think maybe kind of what you said, like there's not a theme, you know. There's a certain skill about rapping about anything off of the top of your head, but there's also a different skill of creating a song, creating a concept, you know, creating a story. Not that freestyle rappers can't do that, of course they can, but I think there's something about the concept of it. And I struggle with that too. Like what I'm trying to work on now in my work is just like becoming a better songwriter, becoming better at creating full concepts when it comes to lyrics. Like I get stuck in like one or two concepts or one or two ideas, and then I'll kind of like find myself repeating myself, and I'm like really pushing myself to break out of that. So I think the freestyle rappers, I guess if I could give them any advice, even though they're already so amazing at what they do, like I would say like focus on concepts and projects, and you'll go even further.
Sí,
Yo creo que... Ajá. Sí, dale.
Nosotros nos hemos dado cuenta de eso, que muchos artistas vienen al estudio y vienen a crear, y el primer tema hablan de un tema y uno dice, ¿cómo? Quedó bueno el tema. De momento llega el segundo y estás hablando y más o menos se parece a la temática. De momento viene el tercero y es como que de momento hay 7 temas y todos hablan de lo mismo. Entonces como que yo me he dado cuenta que hay muchos artistas que todavía no han encontrado ese notch de poder crear temáticas, de unos topics, tú sabes, de unos temas impactantes, que yo pienso que eso es lo que Bad Bunny también ha hecho, que ha puesto unos temas que todo el mundo se recuerda.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, if you look at some, I don't know if you guys heard the new Weekend album. He dropped a new album.
Demente.
Sí,
Demente,
sí,
otro nivel.
Crazy, right? So
sí.
That whole like concept of the radio, you know, it wasn't the first time that somebody did that. People do that all the time, you know.
Yeah.
But it was the way that he did it and the way that he just glued everything together. I think that just helped make it such a great concept, great album.
Sí.
You know what I mean? Something small like that. It's not even necessarily a thing about songwriting. It's just a concept. It's just an idea. If people can see music like a movie, then it's probably going to be received very well, you know. But I think different artists are good at different things. I mean, like when it comes to concepts, like you could, you know, look at J. Cole. He's probably like the king of storytelling and, you know, wordplay and doing that. But then there's other artists who maybe don't, you know, but are good at other things, you know.
Ok, allá en New York, no sé si tienen el mismo problema que estamos teniendo aquí en Puerto Rico, pero ok, aquí el nivel de escritura, cuando están escribiendo, o sea, ya hay un nivel de todas las líneas, cada línea tiene que tener un punchline. Y es como que ahora mismo los chamaquitos están saliendo súper hackeados. O sea, tú ves barra por barra, punchline. That's really good. Porque puso la competencia como que up a notch. La pregunta es, si tú piensas que eso a la misma vez como que está dañando un poco la esencia de la escritura. Porque eso es algo que sí nos estamos dando cuenta. Como que sí son punchline, pero las temáticas... tú sabes, la sencillez que tenía a veces un tema de hablar de, qué sé yo, un tema de estos, el gistro amarillo. Va a ser un ejemplo, una canción de reggaetón que aquí fue famosa, o sea, conceptos de el gistro amarillo, que sí, que la escoba, que si yo no sé qué caramba, antes hacían canciones con lo que sea y era como una idea pequeña. Y ahora, pues, tanto punchline como que no me llena la canción.
Yeah, I think it's too much of a good thing is possible. You know what I mean? And then you kind of like lose the meaning. It's like, okay, what's the concept? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that maybe that's because you pointed it out. I never thought of it that way, you know. But maybe that's why the freestyle rappers that we're talking about, maybe that's why. Maybe it's because it's like so focused on like bar, but like, what are we talking about? But
yeah.
I don't know. That's really interesting, and I never thought about it like that. But I think on the flip side, like what you're talking about, like you can also have a song that's really about something small or really about nothing even, and it's about how you create that picture of something small or something that's nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Sí, hay diferentes maneras de verlo. Por ejemplo, mira Bad Bunny. O sea, él sí tira temas con concepto y tira punchline en casi todas las líneas.
Mm-hmm.
Anuel también hace cosas que siento que ese último disco sí pudo lograr concepto, aunque la temática que usó pues no es mi favorita, pero pero sí siento que logró un concepto con lo de las
Ya.
leyendas.
Ya,
Y también tenía buenos punchlines.
sí.
Pero
Yeah.
tú ves J Balvin y pues son temas que, pues, no sé, como que son temas comerciales, como lo que está haciendo Yankee también ahora, que son temas que son extremadamente comerciales y pues no dicen mucho. Es más
Ujú, ujú.
como una lata de salchicha.
Yeah.
Y ya,
And I mean,
diablo.
and that's good too. I mean, sometimes we just need some fucking party music, you know what I mean? Like,
Sí.
and that's cool too, you know. I think like I think again, like when I'm talking about like thinking about it like a movie or like a TV show, it's like if you know Seinfeld, the TV show, it's like a show about nothing. It's a show about nothing, but it's
Ah,
how they do it.
El
It's how
concepto.
they, yeah, it's the concept. Like, and I think it's cool to have a concept that's not a concept, and I think it's cool to have a song that's just like about nothing. It's just about, it's a party song, you know?
Ujú.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sí, sí, eso está bien. Mira, y hablando de lo del el finger drumming, tú nos puedes decir un ejercicio rápido, algo que tú puedas hacer así como que para poder coordinar mejor.
Yeah, yeah. I would say the best is to start really slow and then work up to the speed. So
Okay.
people, I think, are trying to like get speed first, but like really learn every beat very slow, and then you can bring it up. Like it's the same thing on any instrument, you know, like on the piano. Like I don't know. When I was a kid, I used to take piano lessons, and my teacher would always drill in my head, like, no, do it slow, because I always wanted to do it fast. I was like, no, I want to play it fast. I want to play it fast. And she's like, no, you have to do it slow. And then once I did that, I got faster because I really learned it. It's all about muscle memory. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you're going to the gym and you're learning a new exercise, it's like you have to do it really slow so you don't hurt yourself. And then eventually you don't even have to think about it anymore and you could just like smash out sets. Like it's the same thing with playing an instrument, it's the same thing with finger drumming.
¿Cuál es tu launchpad favorito?
My what?
Your launchpad, your favorite launchpad.
My favorite lunch spot? Oh, caught me off guard with that one. Probably the machine.
The
The
machine.
The Machine, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
Why? Why?
I like I like how it looks, honestly. I like how it looks.
Okay. But, thinking that, someone that is doing this every day, like playing with the launchpad, yo pensaría que tú tendrías como que un launchpad que tú dices, no, es que la ejecución de la manera en que yo le doy a esto es perfecto, ¿entiendes? Como que no es lo mismo usar un piano tecato a un piano de verdad, ¿entiendes? Ah, no se escucha, mira, está en mute.
Wait.
Ahí.
I think that equipment doesn't always matter. Like if you play on the keys, like that's cool too. You know, it's something very old school and very cool about like playing drums on the keyboard. You know what I mean?
Ajá.
And it brings me back, and it's cool. I think at the end of the day, equipment doesn't really matter because to be honest with you, I use the machine, but I don't use the machine software. I use Logic, so I kind of just use the machine as a MIDI controller. So I press the Shift F1 and it goes into MIDI mode, and it's basically just a MIDI controller. So I
Yeah.
honestly just use it because I like how it looks, and I could program the lights, and it's good for performances. It looks good when I'm performing. People can see that I'm actually playing and that the lights are changing and that, every pad that I hit is lighting up and
Ajá.
oh, cool, So gear stuff, it's like I'm a very not gearhead. I'm a very not gearhead. And people give me shit for it, but like I don't really care.
You're just
Yeah,
musically talented.
Thank you, bro.
yeah. Yo estuve escuchando en una entrevista que hiciste que tú usas los stock sounds de Logic, ¿verdad?
Yeah, wow, yeah, that was shout out to Sanjay C. He's a homie. He's killing it on YouTube right now, by the way.
Yeah.
And that was an interview with him. And yeah, like at that time, I still do. I still use a ton of Logic stock sounds. At that time, though, Logic, I didn't update Logic yet, and I didn't have Alchemy. And Alchemy is like the key when it comes to sounds in Logic. It's like
Really?
yeah,
Wait.
Alchemy.
This is a gem for me because I was using Logic for a long time, and I switched to Reason Studio.
Yeah.
So what's Alchemy?
So Alchemy is just a synth. It's a stock synth on Logic, and it
Okay.
has dope sounds. It's really good. And I mean, a lot of people love Logic just because it comes straight out the box with great sounds. But once they introduced Alchemy to Logic, like it was a game changer because some of the synths on there were kind of outdated. Yeah.
Okay. Y
Yeah.
eso es algo que viene con Logic Studios, con Logic, perdón. Eso viene, pero como uno lo instala. Está hidden.
It comes with it, yeah.
Con la nueva versión de Logic viene ese
Okay.
synth.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a stock. Yeah, it's a stock Logic synth.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, but recently I've started to kind of expand my horizons a little bit, and I'm using plugins by F Expansion. They make really dope synthesizers. So I use like Strobe and I use Cypher. Those are really cool. And I've been using more drum packs. I've been like buying drum packs and stuff for like just to get like really hard hitting drums. Cause because it's like sometimes I was just like using the same sounds. I need something different. So
¿Algún drum pack que tengas pegado ahora mismo que tú digas, este es mi favorito ahora mismo, no lo suelto?
My favorite drum pack?
Right now, yeah.
Let me see. I'm pulling up my folder right now.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to Decap. Always love Decap. Like his drums are crazy. Murder Beats.
Beats.
Yeah, his stuff is crazy. Those would probably be two. Yeah, those would probably be like my top two, Decap and Murder.
Yeah. Eso está muy bien. Mi gente, estamos escuchando al duro en los drums, en los finger drumming, al duro de verdad, Phronetic.
But you need drums that slap, and you know, people sometimes say like, oh, if everybody's using like the same kit, like, are we really making different music? But like, it's all about how you use it.
That's what I say. I always say that because
and creating your own sound too. You know, you use those tools and you create your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I find that drum samples is like, it works for me. It's powerful for me. I'm like, I would say I'm not as good at flipping like melodic samples because sometimes I get stuck and I don't like to just take the loop and like throw it in there because then it's like, okay, you know, everybody else made that beat. So it's like, I'm also challenging myself more to like flip more samples. But I'm coming from like a very like, I grew up, you know, playing instruments, and my family, you know, makes music, and you know, my mom plays piano, my dad plays some guitar, and my brother plays saxophone and stuff. So it's like I came from that, so I have to like relearn a lot of stuff about like music production all the time, like flipping samples and stuff like that. So sound design.
And that's something that we have been working on, because we come from the old school era of playing. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, exacto.
Sorry.
Ahí.
Párate que no los veo. Ahora. We come from playing like everything that the beat that you hear, you play it, right? And right now it's more about creating a 4-bar loop or 8-bar loop, playing something and then flipping your own sample. And then, you know, so we end up learning a new way of making beats.
Exactly. Yeah, that's usually what I love to do. Is like making your own and then flipping that. And you also have more control. Like, I think there's just something to be said about having control when you're flipping a sample, and I think that's why like my like old school brain is like, because like I can't change the notes in the sample, but it's like, if you guys are doing what you guys are doing, it's like you can craft it to be the way that you want it, and then say you like bounce it and you have the wave file now, and then let me change that note, and okay, and go back and change it, whatever.
Sí.
Yeah.
Y algo que yo he descubierto últimamente con esto de sampling, porque pues yo soy saxofonista y toco piano también. Y antes pues me gustaba mucho como que pues como que sí, meter mis manos ahí, que se sintiera ese feel. Pero lo que estoy encontrando es como que, ok, tengo una base y eso como que una vez ya tú lo printeas, o sea, lo tienes en audio wave, en wave file. Tú puedes hacer tantas cosas con eso. Y puedes experimentar y chopear y repetir sonidos y bajar la octava, bajar una quinta, lo que te dé la gana, duplicarla, o sea, las ideas son infinitas. Y son cosas que quizás tu cerebro o tus dedos no lo podrían hacer. Porque, o sea, no es algo natural que tus manos vayan movimientos naturales. Entonces, una vez tú lo tienes en sonido, a veces experimentando y cortando donde no tiene que ser, a lo mejor le estiras un poco y eso te da un sonido nuevo. Y todas estas cosas como que te expanden la mente y te sacan de tu comfort zone.
Exactly. It forces, like, flipping samples forces you to really learn about sound design and how to just make stuff sound the way that you want it to sound. Like, I always say, like, the best sample flippers are making the sample work for them. Like, they're not working for the sample. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's exactly like you said. Like, you raise the pitch, stretch it, like slow down, like everything. It's like all of that. There's so many different possibilities. And once you wrap your head around that and you have like your method and your secret sauce, then you got it. Like every great sample flipper has like a certain way that they flip that sample that nobody else can touch because there's so many different ways to flip samples.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, y es irrecreable. O sea, esto estamos llegando a nivel NFT, que va a llegar un punto que no. I'm the unique one, tú sabes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. And also, I was gonna say, like, when it comes to micro chopping, like just taking like tiny bits and like creating a whole thing out of that. Like, I admire that because I'm not good at that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, y tú sabes que también yo estaba hablando con un productor el otro día de Miami, que se dedica a hacer merengue. Y él me estaba contando que él solamente se sabe una progresión en el piano. So, él toca siempre el mismo acorde, la misma progresión. Y lo que hace es que lo printea y le cambia el pitch en el programa. Entonces ahí va ajustando todos sus temas diferentes, pero lo hace todo ya. Pero como nada más sabe tocar una, pues todo lo toca igual en el mismo tono. Sí. Ahí está también el beneficio de que si no sabes mucha música, pues flipeando los sampleos, te aprendes una progresión y ya.
Yeah. No, totally just like two very important skill sets, you know, like flipping and then like playing. And, you know, like I said, some of the best sample flippers in the world, they're like doing shit that I can't even really wrap my head around. Like fucking, you know, you think of cats like, of course, Jay Dilla, like how Jay Dilla would chop samples and completely take them out of context. It's like there's always just levels of like how to learn and how to get better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Mira, ¿y has pensado entrar en el metaverso? En el metaverse. ¿Te vas a meter ahí?
Oh my God. I don't even really know what's happening with that. To be honest, like I know that like he created this idea and like now it's like a virtual world, but I don't even really know what is it? Are people like just hanging out in there and then it's like real life just
it's like you own a space, you own a piece of land, right? And you do whatever you want with that land on the verse.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
sí,
yeah.
So tú la diseñas como tú quieres.
Tú puedes, tú sabes, montar un strip club si quieres, lo que tú quieras.
Yeah. So does that, I mean, I guess that means like is it all VR stuff? Like you need VR goggles, or is it just like I could just pull up on my
Eh,
screen?
you
Sí,
can, but you don't have to. You can use your screen.
pero, ajá, y con el mouse lo mueves y tienes un 360 view del área que tú hagas. Y nosotros estuvimos
Uh,
hablando en una entrevista pasada con el artista Edgar Emilio de Puerto Rico y él tiene su metaverso y lo hizo en una galería. Y tú entras a su metaverso y en una pared tiene un cuadro con la carátula del disco y puedes ver los videos en la pared, caminas para el otro lado, miras para el otro lado y tienes diferentes cosas. So he did like a gallery of his art, you know?
that sounds cool. That sounds
Sí.
cool. I think there's just gonna be a ton of people who are gonna like freak this in tons of different ways. Like, I don't know if you guys know Illmind, the producer,
Sí,
Yeah.
sí.
and he's like really been making waves in the NFT space, and he was been on top of it since like the beginning, and dropping like sample packs as NFTs, which is genius. It's genius, like because you think about all of the different ways that people are making NFTs, and on first glance you look at it and it's like, okay, I bought a picture of like a drawing and then they just like modify the drawing a little bit and it's unique and then we sell another one. It's like, okay, so where's really the value? But like what Illmind did, the sample pack as an NFT, like that's exactly the type of ownership that NFT is for. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And that's gonna change, I think, the sample pack game. And people say that like NFTs are gonna change like how artists interact with their fans. Like I believe it. I think it might. But yeah, Illmind, I wouldn't be surprised if he like pulls out with some dope metaverse, venue
I think
and
he already
oh really?
Ahí se llega diablo, la cara se le quedó frisada.
Yeah, yeah. But I didn't know that. So he's already on top of it.
Yo creo que él anunció algo hace poco sobre eso. Él estaba experimentando con el metaverse.
That's cool. That's cool. See, I respect him for that. He's always on top. He's always on top of this stuff.
Sí, y tiene su propia moneda también. O sea, tiene tanto eso del metaverse, perdón, de lo del NFT y lo de las monedas. Tiene el Black Coin, creo que se llama.
Yeah.
Que ese es otro viaje más. Como que, o sea, tú puedes crear tu brand y que la gente pueda invertir en tu brand con esa moneda. Y si tú eres de los primeros inversionistas, cuando ese brand sea más grande, pues entonces ya tú tienes valor adquisitivo dentro de esa compañía, básicamente.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's just everything is Illmind. It's like Illmind's world. Like, and it's amazing. It's amazing what he does. Like the Black Coin and all that. It's just like that's the epitome of like treating your music like a business, and he's just like always on top of it. And people like I feel like play him down a little bit. I feel like people play him down a little bit. Not producers. Like producers, he's like a god in the producer community, but I mean like in the industry, like people just don't realize how much he has influenced and touched. And I mean like he
Sí.
kind of even started, the trend of like sample pack games. Like he's been dropping like Blap kits since back in the day, and Decap too. Decap, doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's something to be said about like always changing the game because, like you said, you're gonna create a community around that. People
Sí.
respect him so much because he's able to stay on top of everything, and it just helps his brand too.
Para mí es increíble como él cada vez siempre como que pone un step más grande, cabrón. Y como que nosotros como productores lo vemos y decimos, diablo, ¿y ahora qué vamos a hacer? Este cabrón acaba de sacar una moneda, acaba de sacar un NFT, como que, what else can we do, Y obviamente es bueno, pero a la misma vez como que uno lo dice, diablo, pero I can't even keep up with what I have, and now I have to think about this new thing,
Yeah, no, it does make producers stressed out. Like, oh god, oh, I gotta learn this. Like, I don't know. And I didn't like, to be honest, like I didn't even really know what the metaverse was. I heard about it and you guys just explained it to me, so I'm gonna check it out a little bit more. But like I think it's easy to get overwhelmed, but I think the most important thing is like focus on your music. Like first step, focus on your music, make it amazing. Like everything else is gonna come. it's gonna come.
Yeah.
Like, and I was telling that to my homie, like he just finished an album, and I didn't listen to it yet. I'm sure it sounds amazing. It just got mastered, and he's saying, you know, you gotta help us like lift this thing off the ground. I'm like, bro, don't worry. Like, if you have great music, that's the hardest part, is having great music. You know, everything else after that, it's a lot of work. I would say it's like 30% music and then 70% everything else. But being talented and having great music is like, that's what you're selling, is good music. You know,
Yeah.
and if you got that, if you got good food at the restaurant, it's like you got the most important thing taken care of.
Sí.
Yeah.
Sí, sí, al principio es cuestión de como que regalar el producto por ahí un poquito, regalarlo, que la gente lo tenga, lo pueda disfrutar, y que ellos se encarguen de seguir regando el producto. O sea, si a ti te gusta algo, tú se lo vas a enviar a tu pana, o lo vas a postear, lo vas a compartir en las redes, que es lo más natural.
Yeah, like a tip.
No, o sea, era un comentario. Estaba diciendo que tú sabes, como que en verdad hay veces que hay que dejar que las cosas fluyan. Like, just let it flow. Because eventually if you're doing good music, things are gonna come to you. All you gotta worry about, it's like, you know, just share it for free with few people. Give it to them. They're gonna take care of it. You know, like, they're just gonna talk to their friends if they like it. If you're making good music, they're just gonna tell everyone else.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then everything else that we were talking about, like social media, internet, it's like uploading on platforms, It's like, at the end of the day, if you got good music or you got a good video, it's gonna do fine, you know. And that's why, like, sometimes I have to humble myself sometimes, and I'll be like, oh, I posted this video, it didn't do that well, or it didn't get as many likes, or didn't get as many views. It's like, instead of me like getting caught up about like, what did I do wrong? It's like, nah, fam, like maybe the beat wasn't the best. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's always important to remember it's about the music. It's about the music. Like, you can have an amazing music video, an amazing whatever idea, concept, but if the song is trash, the song is trash. It's not going to get picked up.
Diablo, mano, eso es lo difícil, que la canción, que uno invierte un montón de dinero y no se mueva la canción. Es como que, wow.
I know. Yeah, it's like, it's discouraging, but I think it's important to always just like look inside of yourself and see like where you can improve. And I've been really trying to do that, especially this year. I think like I need to look inside of myself and really see where my weaknesses are, so that I can really just like keep pushing forward. Because if I just keep, you know, like, oh, you know, I got this, it's like I'm not gonna grow.
Yeah,
man.
Ok, bueno, mi gente, muchas gracias. De verdad, Phronetic, súper dura la entrevista. No me imaginaba que íbamos a hablar de tantas cosas en este podcast. En verdad, súper duro que pudiéramos hablar de tanto.
Yo, thank you so much, bro. And like, also right back at you guys, because I've been peeping all of your different interviews that you've been doing with people, and it's like a lot of stuff that I don't think about, and people dropping gems, and I love these conversations, man.
Gracias, no, Hacho, y para nosotros es, o sea, como te digo, nosotros lo vemos como que si nosotros estuviéramos en los pies de los demás, nosotros nos hubiera encantado tener un contenido como este, donde pudiéramos ver qué es lo que están haciendo otros productores y otros artistas para aprender. Y pues la idea vino de esa, tú sabes, como que de qué manera nosotros podemos como que aprender a la misma vez mientras los demás van aprendiendo, y nada mejor que tener, tú sabes, productores invitados que lo puedan contar desde su propia experiencia y su perspectiva, porque no todo el mundo tiene las mismas situaciones que tú tienes.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a million different ways that people are doing things. There's not just one way, and conversations like this just make us all grow, bro. So I appreciate you.
Duro. Bueno, mi gente, ya saben, tienen que suscribirse a nuestro canal, darle like, comentar, y si tienen alguna pregunta y quieren conseguir sample packs del pana o lo que sea que esté ofreciendo, tú me das el link, yo lo pongo aquí, lo ofrecemos dentro del link de nuestro video. Así que, mi gente, ya tú sabes, nos vemos hasta la próxima. Cuídense.